Welcome back to Sports Talk ATL. I am not Chase. I'm Jake. He's Alex. Chase is his flight got delayed. I can't
Yeah.
remember exactly what he said. Chase is going to be with us today. He'll be back tomorrow, but we're here to hold you down till then. We got a ton to talk about. We're going to talk some Braves. We're going to talk some Falcons. We're even going to talk some college football conference realignment, which I have some very strong feelings about. Let's get started with the Braves first. Wasn't a great series against Chicago. I got to watch a decent amount of it. Of course, all the games started at 2:20, which was kind of weird. But the first game, at least, Max Fried looked incredible in his first game back. It was so great to see him healthy. He looked really sharp. Came out and gave him 6 strong innings. Didn't give up any runs. It was a very welcome sight.
Yeah. Me and Chase been talking about it a while. Obviously, that's all anybody could talk about, Max Fried returning. And I was just cautiously optimistic. I was like, he's still Max Fried. If he's healthy, he's going to be Max Fried. But I just, 3 months off, hottest team in baseball. I wasn't expecting too much. 1-2 starts, I expected him to get back into the groove. He didn't miss a beat. He didn't give up an earned run. I think he went 6 innings. I mean, he looked absolutely unbelievable. He looked exactly like the guy that we saw before the injury, where he had a 2.05 ERA. That's even lower now. I mean, he didn't miss a step. It's so good to have him back. He is the ace of this staff. He will get the call every single game one. I saw people, well, whoever gets it between Spencer Strider and Max Fried, it's not even a question who's getting game one. It's Max Fried. I don't even know why people are like discussing this. It's not only like he's a better pitcher right now, he's also got way more experience than Spencer Strider. I mean, Spencer Strider's had one postseason appearance, and then he looked terrible against the Phillies. Oblique injury aside, I mean, Max Fried is the guy. It's so good to have him back because the rest of the staff really struggled against the Cubs. Elder and Morton both got roughed up. Both of them have struggled since the All-Star break. Elder had a rough one before the All-Star break, but neither of them have looked good since. And I know a lot of people are saying, Alex Anthopoulos didn't go get a starter. He didn't go get a starter. And we're still having to talk about this like there was some deal out there for a bona fide ace that the Braves could have done. They weren't getting Scherzer. They weren't getting Verlander. The rest of the guys are bums, and they were expensive. There's no way that you could, make an excuse to give up all these prospects for a middle of the rotation, back into the rotation guy. Look at the Angels. The Angels gave up so much, and they've lost every game since the trade deadline. Like, sometimes the best moves are the ones that you don't make. We still have AJ Smith-Shawver, and I know for a fact that teams wanted AJ Smith-Shawver in whatever deal they were, the Braves were talking about. Teams were like, "What about AJ Smith-Shawver?" And I guarantee you, he was completely off the table because he has frontline starter potential. The kid's absolutely nasty. He's rocketing through the system, and you don't trade a guy like that for a rental. I don't care about a World Series window. The Braves are the best team. They were the best team in baseball before the trade deadline, and they're certainly the best team after the trade deadline. I don't care if they're 500 since the trade deadline. That's just baseball. It's 162 games. Would you think they were never going to lose a game? These Braves fans, it's like they're treating this like an NFL season where every single Sunday is just a do or die. That's just not the case. Like, it's okay if we lost the series to the hottest team in baseball. The Cubs are the hottest team in baseball.
Yeah, I definitely think there was a bit of an overreaction. And going back to talking about Bryce Elder, I really don't get people are so hot and cold on him. At first, it was kind of a feeling like, oh, well, he's going to regress at some point. And then he kept things up and it was like, oh, well, now he's just never going to regress. It's like, no, it's probably still coming. And now he's actually hitting a little bit of regression. And, in some of the starts, if you watch the games, like he's had some bad luck in some of these. Like there's been a few to where he's almost gotten out of some situations and the defense has let him down or a ball's just barely squeaked through or something. And that's part of that regression. That's just something that's going to happen. I don't necessarily think you can have enough faith to trot him out there to start a playoff game. No, but I still think he's a very serviceable starter for the regular season, and there's no need to freak out and panic and be like, oh, we got to get this guy off the team. Like, no, he'll be fine. Like, I'm not super concerned about Elder. I kind of think he is what he is, and what he is a solid pitcher. Like, he's going to have some bad days. He's going to have some good days. He's not a guy I don't think you can be like, okay, we got Elder on the mound tonight. We're guaranteed, like, we're going to come out of here unscathed pretty much. All we got to do is get 3 runs and we're good. That's not who he is. But some nights he's going to be that guy. And, when he's your 4th or 5th starter, I think that's pretty much all you can ask for.
Yeah, let's all give it some context, everybody. Fourth or fifth starter. That's what Bryce Elder is. He just had to be a number 2, a number 3 because Max Fried and Kyle Wright were out. But come the playoff time, the Braves don't need him. The Braves 1 and 2, Spencer Strider, Max Fried goes toe to toe with any 1 and 2 in the league. But then you start looking at 3 and 4 across every single starting rotation. They're all bad. Like it's all relative. Like Charlie Morton's 3.7 or whatever he has ERA is pretty dang good for a 3 across the league. Everybody's 3 and 4 stinks. Nobody has 4 aces to trot out there. Nobody needs 4 starting pitchers in the postseason. We're being completely honest. Just think about the World Series run. We literally didn't have a starter. I mean, that was when Ian Anderson was like, really, really good, but that was about it. I mean, him and Max Fried, that was it. We can have Max Fried, Spencer Strider, and Charlie Morton, those 3 guys, and a deep bullpen, and that's really all you need, especially when you have an offense like this. I saw something. The Braves are leading baseball in OPS, team OPS, since the All-Star break and since the trade deadline. And then they're like dead last in team ERA. So that's where all these losses are coming from. It's not that the offense is just, put up stinkers. I mean, the offense is still doing historic things. I mean, Matt Olson, Austin Riley. We can't say enough good things about Ronald Acuna Jr. Michael Harris is one of the hottest players in baseball. The catching duo is still red hot. I mean, there are so many good things about this offense that it's okay if the pitching staff, goes through bumps and bruises. The most important thing is Max Fried. That he is the single most important piece of a potential World Series team other than Ronald Acuna Jr. Max Fried is the most important person not named Ronald Acuna Jr. And we just saw him, and we just saw him put up an absolute gem after missing 90-something days. That's insane. And we have the audacity, the gall as Braves fans to complain about Bryce Elder, who probably won't even get a start in the postseason. Like, are we kidding? It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I think it's worth noting too when you talk about being 500 since the All-Star break. If you look at the schedule, all right, they played the White Sox, who are very good, but everybody has those types of nights and things like that. Arizona, solid team. They've kind of fallen off recently, but I mean, at the time, I think they were first in the NL wild card. Brewers, good team. Red Sox, good team. Brewers, again, solid team. Angels, who they took care of. And then the Cubs, like you said, who have had the best record since. Like they really haven't been playing just bums. A lot of these teams, aren't you expected? They're not playing the murderer's row that you would, typically rattle off, talk about, oh, they got to play the Dodgers and then they got to play the Rays and the Orioles, which is funny to say. But, I don't think they've exactly been playing scrubs. Yeah, they've had some bad games losing against teams that they shouldn't. But like you said, it's baseball. This isn't college football with Georgia playing Ball State week 2. It's just not the same thing. Yeah. But yeah, and I wanted to talk about Charlie Morton too, because I don't know if you remember me saying this, but it was a couple months ago on this very show. I said, we're just going to look up at the end of the season and Charlie Morton's going to have like a 3.5 ERA. And we're going to be like, it felt like he wasn't that great all year, but he was actually really good. And that's kind of where we're parked at right now. I think he's at a 3.8, something like that. He's another guy that I'm really not worried about if you have to give him the ball during the playoffs. He had a bad start last year against the Phillies, but other than that, he's got plenty of experience, good playoff pitcher. I trust Charlie Morton. I know a lot of people don't. He's had some rough outings. I understand he's getting a little bit older, but I don't have that same type of concern with him that I do with some of the younger guys. Maybe I'm just naive, but if you tell me, okay, it's game 3, we're up 2-0 and we're giving Charlie Morton the ball, I'm not going to be like, oh gosh, like here we go. Even if it's 1-1, I'm not going to be like rattled. I kind of trust Charlie Morton in that way. I think he'll be fine the rest of the way. He's always been like this. He's always had a couple bumpy starts, and you take the good with the bad with him. And like you said, when that's your third starter, and actually technically in the playoffs, he would probably be your 4th starter if you have a healthy Kyle Wright. So yeah, you can take that. You can.
We were talking about all this without even we didn't even assume a healthy Kyle Wright is coming back. And again, it's August. We're just building to October. We've made the playoffs. We won the East. The only thing that we have to do now is just kind of hone the craft, give these guys time to rest, which brings me to another point. It wouldn't bother me if we skipped a Spencer Strider start or a Charlie Morton start or even an Elder start. We've got AJ Smith-Shawver. We've got Soroka. Bring those guys up. Give them some time. Charlie Morton is 40 years old. The guy, Spencer Strider, Bryce Elder, they've never pitched this much in their careers. It's okay to skip a start. we don't want to get to October limping. We want to get to October where they're chest out playing our best baseball. The offense isn't the obvious concern. The concern is the pitching. Why not give these guys rest? I fully expect maybe not this next start in the rotation, but eventually some start in September, give him some rest, give him some time off, especially Charlie. Guy's 40 years old, and he's just been a workhorse this entire season, just a workhorse.
Yeah, the past 3 too. That's what I was going to say about that as well. Is you can't have what you have last year with Max Fried, I guess, has the flu and has lost 15 pounds, and Spencer Strider's got an oblique injury. He's throwing 92. Like, that's what you can't have. And that's what we've said all season. I'm not worried about this team at all. I don't care about the X's and O's. I mean, the Jimmies and Joes, any of that. I just need them healthy. That's my main thing. And if they stay healthy, it's going to be hard for anybody to beat them. All right, let's take a quick break. When we come back, let's talk some college football realignment. It's a hot topic. I have a lot of strong feelings. I'm sure you do too. We'll get into it after the break.